Hey guys, let's go ahead and start with a little fact of the day or thought of the day. Yeah, I'm a gamer girl. I play Animal Crossing and With Your Feelings. Just a little take on gamer girls. But hey, so this is what I'm sending in for PSA at the moment, and as I stray along and go through some things. So I've got the PSA grading standards here. Um, it's kind of interesting reading them. I'm really only interested in anything 8 and above, really, except for very rare exceptions, which that will come and go. But for near mint 8, or for PSA 8 near mint, and I know you can't read it; it's a little small. I'll read it to you. The minimum standard for near mint 8, or PSA 8 is a super high-end card that appears mint 9 at first glance, but upon closer inspection, the card can exhibit the following: a very slight wax stain on reverse, slightest fraying at one or two corners, a minor printing imperfection, and or slightly off white bordering. I'm actually very surprised about that. And centering must be approximately 65/35 to 70/30 or better on the front, and 90/10 or better on reverse. So I have started with getting stuff ready for PSA. I got my PSA membership. I said this episode was coming, what I'm going to send into PSA. Also, to start off, when we hit 50 subs, we're going to give both these cards away to one lucky person. So when we get there, we'll do that giveaway for this Beedrill and this Aerodactyl, both in English. And currently, so I did the platinum one to try and get things going a little bit quicker and better. So if you don't know, if you do platinum, you get 15 paid for already, slightly quicker card submissions. And so this episode is, of course, going to kick off a following series after this, which is going to be called the Quest for 100. So these 15 are paid for. These aren't included into the Quest for 100. Not necessarily these 15 direct cards. This is so far what I've decided that I'm going to send in. I just have to do the building process, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I am going to try and find 100 cards to send into the PSA at once, because you want to try and get your PSA price as low as possible. So the grading service, like what they're going to give you for grade, will be the same. The length it takes will be longer, but the cost will be drastically less. So there will be more waiting time on my part, and then the process of finding 100 cards that are at least 8 or higher is going to take some time. But we saw the standards. Those are the standards we're going by. I'm keeping that grading standards with me as we do this Quest for 100. But here's my first 15 that aren't included in the 100. Granted, I might swap some of these cards out. Well, no, I think I was pretty solid with these. So let's go ahead and do guess the grade for these first 15. So one of the first 15 that I'm sending in, and I'm going to try and get as close and as best as possible to the camera. I know it's not really fair to you because I have the cards in person, and you have to see them via camera. So I got to pull them out of the sleeves, because the sleeves can, play tricks on you. So I don't think they grade. I mean, I said yeah, and for some of my previous episodes, the reason why hollow foils are so hard to find, like in good grades, is just the hollow foil itself gets scratched up. But to be honest, even with that PSA 8 Manaton that I use, the hollow foil is still going to be scratched up. Now I can see this better than you, and I see some staining in the corner and a little bit of nick at top and some silvering on the sides. I'm starting to look at closer inspections. I just picked these cards really quick out of the pile. I may not be able to send this in. I was excited because, of course, it's a first edition hollow foil Cobra's Beedrill. I think I'm still going to send it in and see what it comes back as. There's a bunch more whiting. I guess this one is out of the running. Yep, that's more whiting. I don't know why I missed that earlier. Okay, guys, well, this was the first edition Cobra's Beedrill, but no longer worth grading, sadly, so we're going to take this out of the running. I can't tell if that's a stain or if that's a misprint. Sometimes you get those red dot misprints, and I honestly can't tell. Oh, it is a misprint. Wow. So it's a well, that sucks. This can't really be graded. I mean, it can. I just don't think the grade's going to be worth it. It's a first edition holographic English Toger's Beedrill misprint red dot. I don't think that red dot misprint is a huge run. I think probably like a missing icon or like a, like missing rarity symbol is worth it. So actually, you can't really guess the grade on that, so I'm more likely not going to send that one in. This one, though, I know I took a closer look at earlier. This one we can guess the grade on. I know it's not a hollow foil, but it is still, again, it's a first edition. So I've been selling these, my 9s, for about $28, non-hollow. So this is a non-hollow first edition. As we all know, that first edition is really a good multiplier. Now, this is not a 9 based on what we got for the PSA standards, because this will probably, in my opinion, and I haven't really done any grades. I haven't sent anything in to be graded. I've only held cards that are already graded in their case. Centering looks good to me. There's just the bittiest little bit of fraying at this corner, and they said an 8 is allowed 1 to 2 corners. This, I'm probably wrong because I'm seeing a little bit of stains, but this might still get an 8. I would say a safer guess is a 7. I don't know if to look into that and see if it's worth sending in, because as I've said in my previous episodes, there's just some things aren't worth getting PSA graded if they don't come back a certain grade. So I'll have to come back to you on this, actually. But I'm pretty certain I'm going to send this one in. I'm feeling I'm guaranteed a 7. I'd like to pull an 8. It's so crazy how, until you do your closer inspection, it's really disappointing. Now, this card actually really shouldn't have hardly any flaws. I remember when I got this card in the mail, this one should be pretty close to flawless. So you can see corners are almost perfect. And as I said before, it's easier for non-hollow cards to get higher grades, just that hollow foil gets damaged really easily. Oh yeah, I'm seeing imperfections with the gloss, so definitely not a 10 anymore. You can see it right here as an itty-bitty indent. Be honest though, it's really not that bad. There's no major whiting. The corners aren't falling apart. I would say 9. I would say safely this is probably a 9. It's definitely not a 10. Gotta be at least a 9. I would say I would be surprised if it comes back less than a 9. I'd be disappointed if it comes back less than a 9. I'd be surprised if that comes back less than an 8. And I've always thought that's one of the cooler cards of Mewtwo. Any of the cards that were like this, that had the WB Kids promo, I thought they were just some of the cooler cards. And then they started putting them actually in the show, not as part of the episodes, but they started using them as the commercial break starter cutscenes, whatever you want to call it. So I know these WB Kids ones, because I remember when I got them. I think I even did an episode on them. They came in really good condition, and this one doesn't look like it has any of the flaws on the edging. So this should be 100% a 9, and may even come back 10. Just let me know what you think in the comments. I can't tell. I'm looking at it too through the camera and in person. I guess that whiting would count against it, so I guess it's no longer a 10. That's, from what I've seen, from when I've been just kind of looking at my already graded cards, how stringent these things really are, and that's why PSA and like these card ratings are taken so seriously, because they will find that itty bitty stuff. I mean, they're looking for like wax stains and stuff, and fake waxing, and like stuff that we wouldn't even like really recognize, especially at first glance or even like multiple glances over, that like that waxy sort of look on the cards. Alright, so this is a WB Kids Electabuzz. All these WB Kids, I guess besides the Mewtwo, should be 9s or above. That Mewtwo will probably come back an 8, depending on how harsh they grade that dent in the border. Another thing that I'm failing to do, besides noticing it on the Beedrill, is I need to look for any more misprints or spelling errors. That's just a hair. It's always really, gotta be careful when you're dealing with cards. Even if they're not really super valuable cards, see, there's a little itty bitty dent right there. So no longer a 10. Probably a 9, but more likely an 8. The more evident the damage, of course, the lower the grade immediately. Even if it's just like one bit of damage, if it was evident right off the bat, that kind of tells you already like what it's going to be graded as. One of the things that I thought was kind of funny is the PSA tells you that to not use these top loaders, not for the not that they damage your cards as long as you put them in a penny sleeve, but because this acrylic takes too much time, they just throw it away if you send it into them. Not the card, but the top loader case. They say, oh, you must send them in these, and I just don't trust sending anything in the mail in these card-wise. That's asking for your cards to really get like just destroyed, and the whole point is to send them into PSA to get graded. It's kind of a joke. Okay, Dragonite. Now, I don't know. Just talking about the card in general, and you can see how the light hits it. That's what they mean by like that wax, and like so far all these have had, like, what I can tell with my eyes, they use tools and stuff, and like better viewfinders up. This one also has like the same dent that Mewtwo did. That's crazy. So automatically no longer a 10. Probably an 8, because there's a little bit of whiting there. So when you add that up with the dent and the little bit of whiting, probably an 8. But yeah, talking about this Dragonite, like, as a kid, he was always off-putting. Like, he's got like a purse. Like, I don't get it. It was just cool, though, different art style for the cards. And he was the only one like that for some reason. Don't let this fool you. It's just really, really, really scratched up top loader and crinkly sleeve. This Dark Raichu is in way better condition than what first appears. So this is a holo first edition Dark Raichu. Top corner looks good. On the front, at least. I've been deceived where the back is not great. There's some whiting on the front. A little edging. But he is a first edition holo Dark Raichu. So, Vintage Pokemon Brothers, luckily told me that this is considered one of the first secret rares in all of Pokemon, which I could see. He does fetch a decent price. Back corners are okay. It's actually got like a good, like almost extra more gloss to the back than the other cards. My guess, I'm still willing to guess an 8. It's really not that much damage. And yeah, that's all it takes to go from what would be considered a 10 to an 8. But yeah, there's really not that much damage, and my guess is an 8. I'd be really surprised. Definitely should not be lower than a 7, but I have to look and see if it's even worth sending in again, if it's a 7 or lower. And so, like I've been doing my other series, PSA isn't worth it, which we're still going to do along with the hunt for the PSA cards, the hunt for 100. I'm going to just break this way. The question comes, when should I PSA rated, and it's just a matter of calculating it. It's really simple math. It's calculating in the risk of what will this card get, and you'll get better at it. Like, we're going to get better at on this series. We're going to get better at what we know counts as a 7, 8, 9, and 10. So this was a first edition Misty Seadra. The holofoil was in really good condition, so no worries there. Corners are good. I mean, that's really good holofoil. That's no worries there at all. They do grade you against that, so just be aware. All the corners look great. Let me know if you see any misprints. Oh yeah, my misprint, Misty Seadra. It was supposed to have a first edition symbol, but it doesn't have it. It's a misprint. That'd be a good one. I see a little itty bitty nick, and and there's a little one right there. It's always disappointing. It truly is. Ooh, it's got multiple corners, but it's not heavy. I don't know how hard they grade against that. The front's nearly pristine, really. Oof. I'm thinking that's going to be an 8. I know that we said that you can have it fraying on 1 to 2 corners. I don't know how hard they're going to grade against that, though. The holofoil's in such good condition. Oh. This less than an 8 would be miserable. That should come back as an 8. Let me know what you think. Then I have a non-first edition Misty Seadra. Same exact thing, though, hollow. Packaged a little bit differently. A little bit more packaged, I guess. Gotta get it out of the sleeve. Sorry this is taking so long, guys. I'm really hoping you're enjoying looking at these cards and learn a bit more about PSA and its standards and what to look for. So we're going, obviously corner to corner. We pause to enjoy the holofoil, which is, I don't think it's any better than the last one. It might have a little bit more scratches. So that's good news for the first edition one. Corners are about the same on the front compared to the first edition. However, there's an itty bitty nick right there. Itty bitty nick right there. Once again, it's not the tiniest whiting, but the wording says fraying. I don't know what they consider, what level to be fraying versus just the tiniest bit of whiting. I think this should still get an 8. That's just me, and I know I'm the card owner. I'm being biased, I guess. But really, and then I got a first edition Fossil Raichu. He should be in good condition. I mean, most of these cards have been in pretty good condition. That's the whole point. There's only a few to Deception that I don't have to take back and replace them with something else. So he's got some scratches on his holofoil right there, right next to his tail. And it's funny because you don't really see it with the naked eye. You actually see that more with the camera. Top left corner is pretty good. Top right corner is pretty good. Bottom left, bottom right. I think I'm seeing maybe not. Maybe that was just my eyes. But I don't think the back is as good. It's the back that gets you. It's always really sad because the front's where most of the art is at. See a little bit of white. Little nick to the corner. It's so funny too how you don't see the corners on the front. I would say a 7 for this one. I know I like saying 8 compared for all the others. I'd say 7, maybe even less because of the scratches just on the holofoil. It's not miserably bad. It was kind of funny it's in one area. Like, it's not like one scratch. It was like a bunch of scratches in one area. It'd be hard to send this one back. And once again, it's got that first edition symbol, which means so much. First edition hollow multipliers. Okay. Almost done. 5 left. So Charizard. My Charizards are not in perfect condition. I don't think I have any 8s. But Charizard's still worth it, even 5 and below. So I don't know how they're going to count that. It's got the silvering. The main picture's pretty decent. Base set 2 Charizard. It's the back that gets you, man. Tell you what. Back's not that bad on this one. I actually, I could see this pulling an 8, really. But they're probably more stringent on Charizard, to be honest. They even mentioned that in their magazine. Like, we try not to be biased and we try not to be too subjective, but in a subjective world of what this is, we have to apply subjectivity. I don't know, man. I'm staring at it with my face against my, head, kind of like just thinking. Let me get you a little bit more focus. I know I just put stuff back on. I'd honestly say an 8. I'm keeping them in the running. I'd say an 8 for the base set 2 Charizard. Now we're going into the base set Charizards, which they weren't in as good a condition. I know that much. You can see it. I saw already just with my eyes. The hollow foil is a little bit more scratched up. I don't know if it was worth sending in. I know I said they're worth sending in anything above a 5. He's got scratch just on the main front. Oh, I don't even know if he'd get a 5. I'd have to reread that, what a 5 would be. I know it's below like what I was saying where I want 8s and 7s, but honestly, that's disappointing. Getting him as an 8 would have been really dope. The 8s go for $500 instantly. Kind of funny about Charizard how much they fluctuate. For example, the shining, burning shadows, hidden fates, whatever. GX Charizard, he has fluctuated heavily in price. He was jumping up to where people were getting 4,000 for his PSA 10s and Aston 8,000, 12,000, and then he immediately went back dropping. Now they're getting 1,200 for PSA 10. That was within a matter of a week, and people were asking, and they were getting it too for their ungraded Charizard. So that was one of them. I bought that ungraded Charizard for about $650, and I sold them for $800. And so people were paying $800 for ungraded Shining GX Charizards, which is crazy. So yeah, once again, beat up. Probably PSA 5. I have to see how lenient they are. They don't just drop down too drastically. This also might just have to be sold as is. It's definitely not even a 7. The back's in decent condition. The front has seen, like as if a child play with us quite a bit, which tends to be the history behind these. Previous owners, had them as kids. So I gotta see. They might get pulled out of the running, the 2 base set Charizards. I know I pulled quite a few cards out of the running, but it's just to show you that I just kind of try and make these episodes and roll with it. Now, this one I did take multiple looks at. It's my Japanese cards. You have to, you really want 10s with your Japanese cards. And this should be a 10. Top left corner, perfect. Top right corner, I don't think that's a nick. I think that's just the way the card seems to apply. Let me take a closer look. I'm sorry. I know I'm kind of cheating, taking it away from the camera, but what I'm looking at is I'm trying to tell if it's just the way. It might be a nick. It's really hard to tell because the camera has made things look weird in the past. That'd be disappointing. Hollow foil near perfect. So even your 10s, trust me, I have them. Even your 10s don't have perfect hollow foil. That's probably disappointing to hear. That's probably the difference that BGS probably does when BGS does their high pristine label. That probably is talking about perfect hollow foil, but even your PSA 10s don't have perfect hollow foil. So having these slight scratches here and there, not the worst thing in the world. Really looking for, if it's too many scratches, too big scratches, Looking for damage to the corners. Looking for damage to the main art. It's a cool Houndoom. The back's in pretty good condition. I'm going to take it back. I mean, I want it to be a 10. It's probably a 9. I think this Houndoom is still worth it as a 9, even with it being Japanese. So I'm guessing 9. Let me know what you think. I'm thinking 9. After a closer look. And that's how it works. And it's always disappointing, once you take a closer look at things. This should be an 8. If you don't know, I use a PSA 8 Magneton when I go to pick up high-level individual cards from people. When they say they have a near mint card, PSA 8 is near mint, so I pull out my PSA 8 Magneton and I use it to grade their near mint card and go from there. So don't just instantly disfrot when you have like little specks, depending on the permanence of them. Sometimes it's just a little bit of gunk that gets on there. It comes right off. It's just like a little itty bitty piece of dirt. You're just looking for, you don't want like permanent ink or whatever on your card. The hollow foil is in really good condition, so that's a bonus. It's really solid hollow foil. I don't ever get like any of these swirls. I've had them before in the past, but I see a little bit of silvering. I call it silvering because it's definitely not the same as whiting. Like, that's whiting. It's just white. A little bit on that corner. I'd still guess 8. And, like, it's not that all of my cards are 8s and stuff, guys. It's that, I specifically try and pick cards that would be worth PSA grading for this episode. So I'm actually probably going to have to pull a few out after further examination in regards to what's considered a 5 or what's worth it. Mainly with he's probably getting pulled out. Letting that camera focus. The base 2 Charizard will stay in for sure. These 2 are probably getting pulled out. And Dark Raichu might get pulled out. And Gengar might get pulled out. So I'll have to relook at that. And then I'll also confirm what I'm sending, and I'll also confirm the whole process. So there's more to PSA, sadly, than just sending cards in. They actually require quite a bit of work on the sender's part. And this episode, in my opinion, has gone too long. If you have watched it through the whole way, congrats. But go ahead and let your friends know. When we hit 50 subs, we're going to give both these cards away to one lucky winner. This Beedrill and this Aerodactyl. They'll both come in hard toppers, and or top loaders, whatever you want to call them. And we'll go from there. So this has been Flaming Chicken, and this is my episode talking about PSA, the standards, what we're looking for, and my quest for 100 PSA cards.